Okay, so before you start any coloring or any staining at all, the first thing you always want to do is make sure that your panels are completely clean and free of any debris, dust, or contaminants. So we always highly recommend either pressure washing your panels or hosing them down and thoroughly blowing them off and using a scrub brush to make sure there's no dust or debris on the panels. Because if you stain your panels before you clean them, the dust that's sitting on top of that surface can actually inhibit the bond between the paint and the panel. So it's always very important to make sure your panels are clean before staining them. All right, so again, I want to keep variation throughout the panel so that all the rocks don't actually look like one color. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take this sprayer and I'm going to focus on certain individual stones to make those actually a little bit more prominent than the rest of it. So when I actually broadcast my final color or my final stain over the top of everything, which will help blend it all together. But those rocks that I've colored, that I'm going to color right now, will still be the most prominent rocks. So those will actually stick out and you'll see variation throughout the whole panel. So I'm going to go ahead, fire up this sprayer and start doing my, what I call the accent stones first. So I've gone through and kind of hit my accent stones. What I used there was a nutmeg at a 3-to-1 dilution. So that's 3 parts water to 1 part stain. Now I'm gonna use a bark brown and I'm gonna actually go ahead and you can see if you come in closely. So as you can see here on some of the stones that I'm hitting with the accent stones, I'm leaving a little bit of the panel blank and uncolored or unstained. The reason I like to do that is I'm going to take this bark brown at a 3-to-1 dilution as well, and I'm going to fill in the areas that don't have a lot of nutmeg. And what that's going to do is it's going to give the rock kind of a two-tone look, again keeping variation so it looks natural. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dilute the bark brown down to about a 4-to-1, and then I'm going to broadcast over the whole panel to help kind of blend it all together. So just to kind of do an overview on what we did here is we used 2 colors. We used bark brown and we used nutmeg. We used nutmeg at 3-to-1 and bark brown at 3-to-1 as well. 3 parts water, 1 part stain. And we went around and we first hit our accent stones. So those are the more prominent stones that you see here. And then what I did with Bark Brown is I actually diluted it back down to 4:1, so 4 parts water, 1 part stain. And that's what I broadcasted over the whole panel to make sure that everything kind of blended in, but you still have those prominent accent stones in the background.